Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chronicles of Hollywood History, Past, Present, and Future. Welcome. And here now, Corey Gomez.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I am here with another interview. You may know him as Dae Han. You may know him from Best of the Best. You may know him probably from not all the stunt work he did from PM Entertainment up until the Marvel and DC Universe. I am here with Mr. Simon Rhee. How are you today?
I am good today, Corey.
Well, I guess before we go into anything, you've got a new film coming out called The Doorman. Can you tell us all about it?
This is a movie with Ruby Rose as our lead actress, and it's kind of like Die Hard. She gets a job as a doorman, and then all these bad guys come inside to this like a apartment or hotel complex, and she has to fight off all these bad guys. And from what I'm hearing, I just talked to the producer. He said the actions are really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it because I haven't seen it yet since they edited it.
And that's going to be available through Lionsgate, correct?
Lionsgate. It'll be on video on demand on October 9th.
Now, it's kind of funny when you said it's kind of like Die Hard. Like I told everybody in the intro, if they weren't familiar, you are a stuntman that's done everything, and you did another film for PM Entertainment that was kind of like Die Hard, and I'm talking about Skyscraper with the late Anna Nicole Smith. Do you have any memories of that film?
Skyscraper with Anna Nicole Smith. I think I had to fight a full contact fighter from a different country, and he was supposed to hit me in the kidney, and he didn't pull it. So I remember getting hit pretty hard. I think that's all of I remember.
Now, I guess before I talk about some of your film work, because I like to, as a martial artist, I love to do interviews with fellow martial artists. I noticed you right away in Best of the Best. So clearly you have a Taekwondo background. I've also noticed, do you know a little bit of like Hapkido or Aikido? Do you mix in with your moves?
I am 4th degree black belt in Hapkido, but since I'm involved in so many Hollywood works, I have to know how to do, all different types of martial arts. So I studied a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I studied Wing Chun. I studied Filipino martial arts. I studied a little bit of judo and studied some boxing so that I would have all this repertoire, for whatever the director wants to see.
Well, you move, like I said, everybody knows, a lot of people, I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people that are on my site know you as Dae Han from Best of the Best. The eye patch, I guess you were kind of portrayed as the villain. I do have to ask you a Best of the Best question. Best of the Best was, of course, like the feel-good underdog sports movie, which I'm not going to lie to you, it was just okay. Now, Best of the Best 2 was amazing. Now, whose idea was it to take this feel-good Olympic hopeful movie and turn it into a fight to the death film?
So what were you asking? Whose idea was it?
Yeah, because whoever idea was, it's genius. So, because Best of the Best 2 is so much better.
Well, it depends on people. Some people like Best of the Best 1 better. Some people like Best of the Best 2 better. So what happened was we made Best of the Best 1, and people really, really liked the film. And they wanted to see more. They wanted to see a second one. So Philip, my brother, he was thinking, and he came up with the idea of Best of the Best 2, like fighting in an arena and stuff like that. And they liked that one too. So then we went on and made like 2 more. We made Best of the Best 3, which was all about the discrimination, I guess. There were like Ku Klux Klan fighting against, the black and also the Asians. So have you seen number 3?
I've seen 3. I own 3 and 4. 3 is actually my son's favorite of the series.
Yeah, so we had that. So, like, you know, you got to keep coming up with new ideas. So the first one was like the Olympics. Second one was like UFC type of cage fighting. And the third one, we, you know, touched up on the racism. And then fourth one, you know, we started, you know, getting into Russian mobs. So yeah, that's how we made Best of the Best.
Now, the question I posed to Mr. Eric Roberts that he told me I need to ask you guys, part two, which I'll be honest with you, I've interviewed Eric Roberts so far and Patrick Kilpatrick, because Best of the Best 2 is one of the greatest movies ever made, in my opinion. How was Sonny Landham, Mr. Philip Ray's brother in that film? We've never put two and two together how that worked.
Did they? I don't know. I don't think they played as a brothers. They were like, you know, they might have called each other brother, but they weren't really as brothers.
Because
you know?
it was a great dynamic, and we always liked that. We just always kind of wondered, because Sonny Landham was amazing. He's a man, unfortunately, who left us way too soon, in my opinion.
Right, I agree with you. But he was pleasure to work with, because we were worried about him because we heard about his drinking problems and things like that. But when he worked with us, he was fine. He was professional. So I really, really liked that about him. On the weekends, of course, he went out and, you know, did his thing, but he was very professional on the time that he had to be in front of camera. So we were lucky, I guess.
What was it like to you in the action circles? The most ultimate man's film is considered Showdown in Little Tokyo. 80 minutes, 79 minutes of it action. And you were actually one of the Yakuza in that, Ito. Did you ever think that little movie would go on to have the cult following that it does today?
Oh my goodness. This is the feeling that I have as an actor on that film, okay, Corey?
Okay.
So in Japanese tradition, if the Yakuza cuts off his pinky and apologizes to the boss, in tradition, the boss is supposed to forgive you. But in the movie, after I cut off my finger and, you know, offer it to my boss, he kills me.
Mm-hmm. So,
to me, I guess the director took it and twisted the Japanese tradition a little bit. So, I don't know how Japanese people would feel about that, but I'm sure American people and just the regular general audience, you know, they didn't have any problem with it since this was an American movie. But my concern was, I wonder if that's okay with, you know, the traditional Japanese people when they're watching this. So that's the only thing that stays in my mind, even to today.
When you made that, because I think it might have been Brandon Lee's second film, possibly third. Did you know when you saw him that he would, you know, unfortunately he's another one that left way, way too soon, but did you see in him that he was going to go on to be a big star like his dad?
To be honest with you, I didn't think he had the heaviness of his father. His father had the charisma. His father had the charm. He had the acting ability. And in Showdown in Little Tokyo, his character just was so light. I didn't know whether, you know, that was enough for him to be as big as his father. So I was still undecided at Showdown in Little Tokyo.
No, this is no joke. I liked Showdown in Little Tokyo so much, and I can send you the pictures if you email them to you if you think I'm kidding. I've liked it so much, and I've always loved Asian artwork that I am doing the entire left side of my body tattooed in the traditional Japanese style, like a Yakuza. So you think if when the pandemic's over, if when my family and I, if we should go on the vacation to Japan, if I saw a real Yakuza, they would take a picture with me, or they would probably beat me up and kill me.
That's funny. I want to see it. Yeah, email it to me.
I will. There was another movie. You might not even remember this. There's another movie you're in. You just played a thug, but you did stunt work in it, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's either known as Bad Blood or Viper with Lorenzo Lamas. Do you have any recollection of that is one of the greatest straight-to-video action films I've ever seen.
Did you know I trained Lorenzo Lama? He was one of my students.
No, I didn't know that. And a little known fact, he is a personal hero of mine, believe it or not.
Interesting. How so?
Well, I've had the privilege of interviewing him, and I had told him a lot of people thought I had a crush on him. But when he did the Renegade TV show, I actually grew my hair out and used to pick up girls in bars telling them I was a bounty hunter. So his look back then was very influential to me, and I loved his action films, and that was, I think, the best one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, that movie, Bad Blood, I had a chance to fight with him, and he told me, Master Rhee, just do whatever you want to do. And, he had trust in me and I had trust in him. And we just put the fight together like in 30 minutes before we start shooting. And then we shot it. And then, you know what? The fight came out really good. I really enjoyed that fight scene with Lorenzo.
The movie was priceless. Joe Song, he was a great bad guy. He was really good in that film.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, you worked with all the great ones, and that you had Cybertrekker with Don the Dragon, who's another. I mean, as a guy that did martial arts when I was young, I mean, Don the Dragon was a legend to me.
That's a good friend of mine. He's such a cool guy.
I had the privilege of interviewing him. Now, I hate to ask you this, but it's a question I've had to ask everyone. You don't have to answer this. Now, okay. You did some stunt work in The Glimmer Man with Mr. Steven Seagal.
Mm-hmm.
How was now, I love Mr. Seagal, but I haven't heard great things. How was Mr. Seagal like to work with?
He was not a very pleasant to work with on that movie. I don't know why, but he likes to hurt stunt people.
I've heard that.
Yeah. And I remember that there was about, I believe about 10 of us who were all lined up, and we're meeting Steven Seagal for the first time on set. So he's walking by one, and he's asking the stunt coordinator, so what do I do with this guy? What do I do with this guy? Oh, can I kick this guy? And then he just threw a front kick to this guy in the nuts. Mm-hmm. And we were warned that he likes to do that, so everyone wore a cup. And then he came to one of the, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe his name was Ray Sua. And he was a really, really great Taekwondo fighter. I remember him in tournament circuit. And he came up to him, and for no reason, can I just bitch slap him, and just slapped him in the face. And Ray Sua was such a good martial artist, and I believe he was also a police officer. And he took that. And I was so mad that such a good martial artist had to take that from Steven Seagal. And I told myself, if he comes to me and he does anything like that, I don't care about this job. I'm going to kick his ass back. And I was ready. And then he came up to me and he goes, oh, what do I do with this guy? Luckily, I didn't have a fight scene with him. I was fighting the other guy, Keenan Ivory Wayans, the Black Hawk. Mm-hmm. So the stunt coordinator said, oh, you don't have any scenes with Simon. So he just passed me by. So, so nothing happened between him and I, but I just didn't like the way he was treating stunt people. I think that's just a chicken shit that he does. He did shit like that.
Yeah, and everybody's kind of said that, and that's sad because he was a good martial artist. At least he appeared to be on film.
I think he still is. He's a really, really good Aikido practitioner. But what good is it? When you don't use martial arts for a good cause. That's why I have no respect for him.
No, when my like I said, my son, I kind of did it because you read all these things about all the problems you have with schools and all this violence that happens, and I never want him to actually pick a fight with anyone, but I don't want him to be a victim either. But as someone who's done martial arts my whole life too, it's very respectful. You should never be trying to prove yourself to, in all honesty, to anyone, let alone a stranger.
Right.
You also get to work with not only Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Bolo Yeung in Double Impact.
Right.
Is Bolo, I've heard stories that even though Bolo's the nicest guy in the world, when you see him, you're just terrified. Would you say that's true?
Well, he's intimidating looking. He's got that mean look and he's got the muscles all over. But I heard he's a good guy too. I didn't have too much interaction with him on Double Impact. So, I'm kind of disappointed I didn't. But yeah, from what I understand, he's a nice gentleman. So that's good. And on Double Impact was like one of my first stunt jobs. And when I got hired, I thought I got hired to fight Jean-Claude Van Damme. So when I got on the set, they told me, no, you're not fighting Jean-Claude Van Damme. You're just getting shot and getting killed. And I said, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And then when they put the squib on my chest and blew it up, and they gave me a gun to hold, I wasn't supposed to hold the gun right in front of a squib because, it's like a firecracker going off. And since I didn't know any better, that thing went off, and then it stung my hand so bad, I didn't know whether I lost my finger or not, and I was playing dead, so I had to, stay down and play dead until they called cut. So then after they called cut, I looked down and saw my hand, and, from the fake blood, it was all over my hand, and I didn't know whether I was like, oh no, did I really get hurt or not? But then luckily, it was just a fake blood, and it just stung a little bit. But, that's how you learn. And it was a good learning experience for me. And then after Double Impact, I got hired to do Universal Soldiers with Jean-Claude again. Mm-hmm. And then I got to know Jean-Claude really well on Universal Soldiers. And after we finished the movie, he wanted me to start teaching his kids. So
very cool.
Yeah, so I taught his son and his daughter. And then while we were making Universal Soldiers, there were a few times Jean-Claude and I, we got together at the gym and we were sparring and exchanging kicks. And he's a good kicker. Jean-Claude is for real.
What'd you think of Michael Jai White? That was one of his very first things, and he's kind of gone on to action superstardom, so to speak, as well.
Let me tell you something about Michael Jai White. I was working with him on this movie called Spawn.
Oh, great movie.
And, he's a Japanese stylist. So he comes up to me and he goes, Simon, show me some taekwondo kicks. So I showed him a scissor kick in the air and then add a punch and a roundhouse kick, which takes 4 guys out. And then he looked at it and he goes, I'm going to add another kick so I could take 5 guys out. So he jumped up in the air, did a scissor kick, and another roundhouse kick, side kick, and a punch in the air, which could take out 5 people.
Wow.
And Michael is big.
Yes, he is.
And I could not believe a man that big could jump up and throw so many, jumping kicks up in the air. Michael's impressive.
Because I got to go back a little bit. How did you get into stunt work?
So on Best of the Best, I didn't know anything about stunts. And since my brother was producing the movie, he said, well, Simon, why don't you be our stunt coordinator? So I said, okay. I should have been a fight coordinator, not a stunt coordinator. So then we had to hire some real stunt people because we have the bar fight scene of Best of the Best one.
Mm-hmm.
And, people were going through glass, falling on a table, falling on a pinball machine. All that has to be done by real stunt people. So I got to meet this real stunt people, and they were like super nice, and they were like really taking care of one another. And I really liked the camaraderie, with the stunt people, what they were doing. And then they started calling me when they needed an Asian person who could do martial arts. So that's how slowly I fell into doing stunts. And I really like the camaraderie from stunt people, because sometimes in acting world, actors could be, they want to get the part so bad, they just don't have the camaraderie that stunt people have. And that's why I gravitate towards the stunt department more than acting.
Now, you did a lot of stunts for the Merhais for PM Entertainment, which was, for me, they unfortunately closed before I could make any kind of attempt to get into action films. But, they were the kings there of action movies in the beginning. What was it like doing stunts? I've heard that the stunts there were just so outlandish they were almost dangerous. Is that true?
I mean, they could be dangerous, but they hired a right coordinators, and they knew what they were doing. I mean, of course, sometimes they are short on time. So let's say, for example, nowadays, when you do, let's say, a car turnover, a pipe ramp, they will build a cage inside the car so that roof will not, crush on you. But back in those days, they would use a thing called grab strap. They would tie a strap on a seat, and then once the car goes up in the air, you put your arm in there, and then you lean to the side, and you stay as low as you can, and then the car would, crush. But then you're so low that, you don't get, hit by the rooftop. So if anything, that could be the most dangerous thing. But yeah, they knew what they were doing, and I didn't see anyone getting hurt when I was doing shows in PM Entertainment.
So what is it like to go from PM Entertainment to doing the really big films like for the Marvel Universe and DC, like Winter Soldier and Birds of Prey? Is it kind of a night and day different, or is it all kind of the same thing?
No, it is a little different, because when you do a bigger budget movies, they will give you more time. They'll give you more money to prepare for stunts. They will give you money to put roll cage in the car so that if the car does flip over, that you're 100% safe, instead of doing a grab strap. Even though that's safe, you still take somewhat of a chance, and the big budget company, they don't want to see any type of injuries. So that's the difference, I would say.
Because you've kind of been doing Marvel movies since the beginning, because you were in the original Blade before Marvel got really big, correct?
That's correct, yes.
I love
Blade.
Had a great time
beating up Wesley Snipes until he beat me back up.
Is he I've heard stories that he can be kind of like Seagal, kind of an intimidating guy. Is that true?
On Blade, he was not. He was very respectful, and I guess he's a martial artist too. So when he sees other martial artists, he'll give you respect. And plus he's married to a Korean woman, so whenever I work with him, he's always saying, and then he bows to me and says hello in Korean. So it's really cool.
You were in Lethal Weapon 4, correct?
Correct.
And now, how was that? Because that was Jet Li's first, and I had known well, not personally, but I had known who Jet Li was through, laser discs from, Cantonese films and that for a long time. But that was his first American film. Was that all kind of do you think, done to showcase, to make him a star over here?
I think it's all about business. Warner Brothers knew that Chinese market was growing, so they wanted to be able to bring a big Chinese actor so that Lethal weapon could be a big hit in China also. So it's all about business decision.
I at the time that had come out, Kung Fu started. We had a few Kung Fu studios opened here that were trying to kind of cash in on that. So I studied Kung Fu for a little bit, but I always lacked the speed of the Kung Fu style, so it wasn't really for me. I like to stick with my standard Judo or Kenpo, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might laugh, but do you know you were actually in one of my favorite films of all time that wasn't Best of the Best? And I bet you can't guess what it is.
Tell me.
Big Stan. One
One
of the greatest movies of all time. Did you help train Rob Schneider to do all that? Because he looked pretty impressive doing the sticks.
No, I did not. I think that was either Jeff Imada or Marcus Young. I don't quite remember who taught him, because I think he went to Dan Hinotano's studio to learn all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you were Master Cho.
Yeah, I worked one day on that, fighting him outside of Chinatown, and I think I did one day inside somewhere where he was fighting one of my students. And yeah, that's it. But I saw the film. It's a really fun movie.
Oh, I think it really, in my top 10 films, it's in my top 10. I think it's absolutely hysterical. I loved it, and I couldn't get over how well his martial arts were in that film. I know there's some movie magic behind it, but he was really good. Like, he must have really trained for it.
He did train hard. I know that he trained hard, because the fighting that he did with me, there was no stunt double at all. He did everything.
And, of course, David Carradine was in it, who, David Carradine's a legend in his own right in American films.
Right.
And yeah, I really thought that was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It really is a top 10 movie for me. I absolutely enjoy it.
I'm glad you did.
Another stunt film that you did stunt working was Safe with Jason Statham, who's another hero of mine. How was that like working with him?
Wow. We shot that in Philadelphia, and it was a great experience, because I worked with Jason Statham, was that before or after? I did what is that movie with all these people driving a Mini Cooper?
Oh, the Italian Job.
Italian Job. So I worked with him on that. I think it was, I don't know if it was before or after, but yeah, so I worked with Jason, a few times, but that was a really, really good movie. And I asked Jason, I said, can you really do all this martial arts stuff that you do? Is it just stunt double doing it? Because, I didn't know. And he goes like, yeah, I really did study martial arts. And then when he started showing me some of the stuff, I was pretty impressed. It's pretty good.
Is that, because I could never figure it out, because it's always different in his movies. Is that like a Wing Chun style that he does?
You know what? I don't know, because every movie that he does depends who the fight coordinator is. They might want to tell him to do Filipino martial arts. They might want to, on the next movie, they might want him to do Wing Chun style. So, every movie is different. It depends on the fight coordinator. It depends what the director wants to see. So, I was a fight coordinator on Terminator Genesis.
Actually, I like Genesis, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then the producers and directors, they come to me and they say, "Oh, Simon, I like fight scene from The Raid. I like the fight scene from Ip Man. I like the fight scene from Matrix." And I'm thinking, this is Terminator. He doesn't fight like that.
Mm-mm.
So I try to please them by incorporating some Ip Man, Wing Chun style, some Raid, the Silat, and I try to put a little bit of the Matrix style. So I, put it together and show it to them, and they go, "What's this? Terminators don't fight like this." I'm like, That's what I was trying to tell you guys. So we have to change it all over again.
Well, those raid movies are good. They're kind of in a class by themselves, to be honest with you.
Yeah, a little too violent for me, though.
Another one that you did that I watched, actually for the first time not that long ago, I sat and watched with my son, that you were the consultant on, was Underdog Kids. And that was a really, really great family film. I really liked that. And I'm glad you were a part of something like that. That was a really good film with a good message.
That's all from my brother. He wrote it, directed it, starred in it, produced it. Yes, that was really, really a good movie. Unfortunately, I just got my hip replacement surgery on 2013, so I could not be a stunt coordinator on it. So I asked my good friend James Liu, he's known as the Dragon Master, and he plays Hee-Jin Kwon in Best of the Best. He's the guy who
I'm interviewing him next week, actually.
Awesome, yes. So he coordinated that movie for me, and he did a really good job.
Oh, I loved it. It was funny. It was heartwarming, great martial arts. And I loved seeing, even though it was like for 1 second, I always like to see the man, Richard Norton, in anything. So I was very, very excited about that for his little 2-second part there.
You know what? That was amazing for us to get Richard Norton, Dan Inosanto, Benny Urquidez, Don Wilson, all to be there, and our instructor master Jun Chong, because they were all playing the judge. To have that many special martial art masters in one place, it was like amazing that we were able to get all those people.
Oh yeah, Richard Norton. I mean, going back to his and I had the pleasure of interviewing him, and going back to his Hong Kong films, and you don't see him as much anymore. When he popped up on screen, I was like, oh my god, that's Richard Norton. I was like so excited just to see him, even though for that brief second, because he was so talented.
Yeah.
No, you've worked with everybody.
Did you see City Hunter with Jackie Chan and Richard Norton?
I love it. It's a great movie, and Gary Daniels, another amazing martial artist.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies.
My kid is a huge fan of it. Our Alamo Draft House, when we go, they always show the clips of the little knockoff Street Fighter fight from that. So he and I had to watch it one night. Another one he's a big fan of that you do stunt work for are those new Spider-Man movies.
I don't know if I ever worked on Spider-Man. Oh, I did. I worked on but it was just like one day on a reshoot. And it was like supposed to be in Italy, and then like some water. Yeah, it was all computer generated stuff, and we were just like running away from a big water monster or something. I don't know exactly.
I remember that with Mysterio as well. What's it like doing stunt work as opposed to like actually being in a blowing up car as opposed to doing it on a green screen? Do you have a preference?
Well, it's sometimes if it's super, super dangerous and we don't know whether this is, really safe to do it, then it's better to do it on green screen and, use a computer-generated image. But, if it's completely safe, then I'd rather do it in the real thing.
You actually got to do stunt work and act in a film that actually I thought was very good, Birds of Prey with Margot Robbie. Did you have any good memories of that one?
Yeah, so Margot Robbie, they hired me, and then we were doing fighting in a jail. She comes into jail and she hits me with the shotgun. So they asked me if I wanted to get hit like an uppercut, or do I want to get hit like an axe kick? So I knew if I got hit by an uppercut that I would have to go up and fall on my back, which I don't mind. But after that, I knew all this water was going to come down. And I didn't want water to be hitting my face while I'm laying down on my back. So I said, no, hit me like an axe kick to my back. So she hit me with a shotgun, butt of the shotgun to my back. So I would go towards so I would lay down on my stomach. So when the water came down, that I would not, get hit in my face. Because if I'm supposed to be knocked out and the water's hitting me, I didn't want to keep blinking my face and twitching my face. And if they see that on a film, it doesn't look good. So, yeah, I did that. And one time she missed. Margaret missed and kind of hit me like on the side of my head. And, she didn't mean it. She apologized. And it's all good. But so, I worked on that. And then after I finished working on that, I got a call from a music video company. And the artist named Doja Cat, she was singing a song for a soundtrack for Birds of Prey. So I had to recreate another fight scene for Doja Cat that matches the movie for the original soundtrack. So if you get a chance, go to YouTube, and the song is called Boss Bitch. And that's a original soundtrack for Birds of Prey. So you could look at that too if you want.
Now, you've done all this work for all these DC and Marvel films and TV shows. Are you a comic book fan by chance, or is it any connection there in that sense?
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I go, I go when they call me.
Because you did a lot of the Netflix stuff too for Marvel, didn't you?
I did Jessica Jones, 4 episodes with New York stunt coordinator named Chris Place. And the reason I got to go do that was Vice President of Marvel TV show, Jim Corey. He's like a good friend of mine. He's also, I teach him some taekwondo stuff. And he's really, he loves martial arts. So when he had a chance to call me in to work on Jessica Jones, he called me and said, Master Rhee, why don't you come and work with us for, 4 episodes? So I did that. And then after I finished that, they wanted to give me Luke Cage. They asked me to do Luke Cage. And I did not want to be in New York for 8 months.
God, no.
So I told that's why I asked my friend James Lou, I said, James, do you want to do Luke Cage for 8 months? So he goes, yeah. So he went and did Luke Cage, and then he ended up winning an Emmy. I'm very, very happy that, worked out like that. And then after that, they were doing Iron Fist, and they interviewed me for Iron Fist, but then that was Marvel who interviewed me for that Iron Fist. But the Netflix wanted to go with my friend Brett Chan, who's also a good friend of mine. He lives in Vancouver. And so Brett Chan started coordinating, and he called me up and, asked me to come and play a part on their 10th episode. So I went on their 10th episode and did a little part, finished, had a nice little vacation. Because James was there with me, and James, his wife, and my wife. So after we finished shooting, we spent some time in New York with our wives. Then I came back, and then Brett Chen called me again and asked me to help him co-coordinate, I think 12 or 13, 2 more episodes. So I went back to New York and did 2 more episodes with Brett Chen, and had a great time.
Now, I'm curious because you also did some, and it was a show I used to watch. You did some stunt work on Sons of Anarchy. What kind of stunt work did you do on that? Like the motorcycle stunts, or?
No, I would always play the Asian gang, and always getting killed by the motorcycle gang. Mm-hmm. I was taking a bullet hits and falling down.
And that was a fun show. I really liked that. I was just always kind of curious, what did you do? Same for like what kind of stunt work? I know you did a lot of. My wife's favorite show was Bones, and I know you did a lot of stunt coordination on that. I can't picture a ton of stunt work in that one though. What's kind of the stuff you did? So,
first of all, there are a couple of shows that are my favorite. Like Dexter was one that I could not stop watching, and then Sons of Anarchy was another one. I think they had 7 seasons, and I watched every episode of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, they were great.
They were great, and I loved it every time I was working on it. Now, the Bones, I taught, the lead actress, Emily Deschanel.
Mm-hmm.
So, before the show started, they wanted me to start teaching her some martial arts. So I started teaching her martial arts, and we became really good friends. And so I worked on it. And I think I only worked on the first season, few episodes. And it wasn't much, just little fights here, little fights there, and then that was about it for me on those. Nothing really special.
I have a weird question for you.
Let's hear how weird it is.
You might not want to answer this. As a young man, because I'm old, as a young man, I always enjoyed my my Asian Jackie Chan films, my Operation Condors, Armor of Gods, Project A's. I always liked that. And then when he came over to America, I couldn't get into it. And you did Rush Hour 2. Were you a fan of the American style that he did, or was it? Do you have any opinion of that whatsoever? You don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
No. So, if we look at the call sheet, Chris Tucker was, I think, number 1, and Jackie Chan was number 2 on the call sheet. And the number 1 was huge success because it was the chemistry between Chris Tucker and Jackie was really great. So they decided to make the second one. And I didn't work on the first one. And the second one, I got called in, and I did the fight scene inside the massage parlor. And we won the best fight scene at the Stunt Award. So I'm happy with that. And then Rush Hour 3, Jackie has his team of stunt people, and one day his main stunt double got hurt. So then they asked me to double Jackie, which is a tremendous honor for me because I look up to him and I seen all his films, and I was so awestruck that they asked me to double him. But when Jackie was next to me, I couldn't even talk to him, But then Jackie is such a nice person. He makes you feel so comfortable. We just got along really, really well. And, he goes, "Hey, Simon, I'm going out drinking. You want to come with us and stuff?" And, that night I had a date with my wife, so I had to turn him down. But you know what? Rush Hour, I loved it. If they make another one, I'd love to be in it.
They've been talking about another one for years now. I don't know if it'll ever happen or not.
Say that again?
They've been talking about doing another one for a long time now.
I know. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I want to know, where's Best of the Best 5?
I want to know, too. They're talking about it.
I want it. And can we get Eric Roberts back?
I don't know.
All the fans of yours, is there anywhere we can find you online? Are you on social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media. You could go to Simon Rhee on Instagram or Facebook.
Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I want everybody to pick up the Doorman. Going to be available from Lionsgate, starring Ruby Rose, hot off the Batman, the Batwoman series. I'm sorry. It was a pleasure. I always love my favorite people to talk to are martial artists. I had a great time. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. You have been listening to the Chronicles of Hollywood History. Thank you from Gomez Richmond Productions.